I hear all the time from contractors that they want systems in their business, but what they're really telling me is that there's black holes in their business where they're spinning their wheels, they're putting out more effort without getting a return on that effort. In this video, I'm going to walk you through my exact process that I help contractors implement inside their business that help them turn more estimates into clients. This means that instead of doing estimate after estimate after estimate and hoping that one or two of those estimates turn into clients, this means that you can stop wasting your time making estimates that don't turn into clients. In fact, recently we had a new client in the Roundtable Mastermind program, and she said, okay, I need a process for this. I have 15 to 16 leads coming in every single week, and I'm closing maybe one if lucky, which means that we're putting out a ton of work to try to get these estimates, have the conversations, have the appointments, do all the measurements, and then at the end of the day, that work just becomes nothing. And this is what I mean when people say that they need systems in their business. They really need to plug the black holes that are causing the issues in their business and create clarity. During that same exact call, one of my other clients who just implemented this entire system into his program, I said, okay, so how many of your estimates are you closing? And he was like, all of them. Every single estimate that we do, we make and turn into clients. It is because they are following this system. Hey, if you don't know who I am, I'm Liz Chisholm, and I help contractors just like yourself plug the black holes in their business so that they have systems and processes, they have the clarity in their business so they can scale with a little bit of effort. Now, like I said, I'm going to walk you through the exact process that I go through with every single one of the clients inside the Roundtable Mastermind so that you can start closing more deals and you can start plugging these black holes and creating a high leverage business that will actually bring you the returns that you want. Now, I wrote this all out for you so you can see it. And there's different pieces and parts that you'll need in here. But the most important part is going to come down to the actual point of sending the estimate. In that point, I actually have a free script that you can use to turn these estimates into clients. So let's imagine that you have a client who has no idea who you are. They don't know that you're going to help them solve all their problems, remodel their house, put in the new tile, change their bathroom, give their backyard an upgrade, whatever it is that you do. These people don't know who you are yet. So that's why I gave him a sad face, because they don't know who you are and they need you. So there are two ways that somebody is going to somehow get connected to you. It's either going to be a call or it's going to be a form. Now the call can be either inbound or outbound, meaning you are picking up the phone and calling someone, or it's inbound, which is typically more popular because people will search for you on Google and they'll find your number and they'll just call you and say, hey, I need a contractor. And so therefore they're going to call. The next place is a form. This is going to be something on your website where somebody is looking for contractors and they're kind of dabbling their toes and like, do I really want this project done or not? And they're kind of just hemming and hawing a little bit. And you have this form pop up on your website and it says, hey, do you want a free estimate? And they're like, yeah, that'd be kind of nice. I kind of want to ballpark and see how much my project is going to cost. So they'll fill on a form and therefore you have their contact information. Either way, they now go from not knowing you to knowing you and calling or reaching out to you. Now, there are points in time where you may call out to somebody else, and this could be in the form of referrals. Maybe somebody said, oh, my neighbor wants a project done. Here's their card or here's their number, and you just go out and call them. Whatever the case is, however you get connected with them, this could even be DMs. I push calls into DMs. That's direct messaging on either Facebook and Instagram. Whatever the case is, you're connected to the client. And that very first connection needs to be a diagnostic call, meaning you've got to figure out, are they ready now or are they ready later? And so that's why I have these two buckets here to figure out what type of client this person is. Now, on this diagnostic call, you want to answer 4 questions. You want to know their timeline. Are they needing their job done next week because it's an emergency? Or are they needing it done before the holidays and they're just getting ahead of the curve? Can you fit them in the schedule in the next 2 weeks, or are they going to be pushed out to 3 months? Whatever the case is, you want to know their timeline because this is going to help you decide whether or not you can take them on as a client or whether you need to politely refuse. Now, you need to know their budget. This is really important. And most of the time, people glaze right over there and just be like, hey, how much are you thinking about spending? They're like, I don't even know how much it's going to cost. You're like, okay, well, I'll give you an estimate. No, ask more questions. Say, how much have you budgeted? If the cost was between this and this, is that somewhere you could pay for? Like, keep on asking those questions until you get a budget. Because if they're like, I don't know how much it's going to cost, and then you come in with a $50,000 kitchen remodel and they were expecting to just get some paint on the cabinets and do a $10,000 kitchen remodel, you're now wasting your time. So you want to know their budget. Now you also want to know what the motivating factor is. This is going to help you connect with them on an emotional level. This is going to help you understand why they want their project done. What is the motivating factor? Why now? Why are there all of a sudden, I want a bathroom remodeled when 3 days ago they weren't even thinking about it? What is that? This is where you're going to have a conversation with them. Pretend you're chatting at the grocery store and you're just curious. In fact, the more curiosity that you have in this diagnostic call, the better it is. Now, obviously, you need to know who the decision makers are. Now, this goes to without saying that you also need to know the scope of the work, but typically they tell you that whether or not you have asked for that information. So you want to know who are the decision makers. Is there a grandma that lives in the house that's going to be super picky about what colors are being used? Like, you want to know this ahead of time so that way when you go into the project, you know who to talk to, and you need to make sure that you're going to have an appointment with all of the people. So I'm actually going to also add that there's a what, like what is the project? But that's kind of assumed, and usually if they filled in a form, they're already telling you what they want, or if they call you, they're usually saying, hey, this is the reason I'm calling you, and this is what I want done to my house. Those are the diagnostic questions that you need to ask. Now, you could call this a discovery call, you could call this a diagnostic call, you could call this a clarity call, you could call this a free estimate. Whatever you call it, it doesn't really matter. It's a diagnostic call. Now, there are going to be a couple of things that happen after this, and this is where things get important. You need to decide whether or not they're ready now, or whether or not they're going to be ready later. If they are ready now, book the estimate now. Now, this is obviously factoring whether their budget is accurate and something that's going to be worthwhile your time. You obviously need to know their timeline. If they want a job done tomorrow and you've got 3 jobs booked out for the next 3 weeks, then you've got to figure something out. You're not just going to go do an estimate if you don't have the time to fit in the project. You also want to know why they're being motivated. What is important to them? This is going to be really important because the more you listen on this diagnostic call, the more you can close the sale later and actually have your estimate turn into a client. So obviously, if they're ready now, we're going to go through this whole side, and I know you can't see it because I'm standing here, but we're going to get to that later. Now, if they're ready later, there are a couple things that need to happen. First of all, you've gotten their contact information because they called, ask for their email, figure out where area they're in, those types of things. And then you want to follow up with them. If they say, yeah, I'm thinking about getting this done in the next couple of months, you always cut that in half. If they say 2 months, you call them back in a month. If they say, yeah, reach it back out to me in 2 weeks, call them back in a week. Always cut that follow-up time in half because their follow-up time is skewed based off of their life, and they're going to forget about you if it's a long period of time. The next thing you want to do is make sure that you're sending out nurture emails and SMS, so text messages. So this can be done through CRM. My contractors use ROI Builder, which is the CRM that I've modified and built out for contractors. And so you can just send them simple things. And then you also want to add them to your ads ecosystem. We'll get to this in a minute. Now, what are those emails going to say? Well, they're very quite simple. They're going to say, hey, you're in the right place. If you're looking for a bathroom remodel, we're the best bathroom remodelers in town. This is what we do. You want to make sure that they feel that they didn't make a mistake. Because if they feel that they made a mistake and emailed you accidentally, they're going to just unsubscribe. They're going to mark it as spam. They're going to forget who you are. And then there's going to be this like bad taste in their mouth that there's this person that just keeps randomly emailing me and they have no idea who this is. So you want that first email to be like, you are in the right spot. The next couple of emails are going to build trust, and they're going to have testimonials, and they're going to have your process. This is what to expect. This is how to do it. This is what's going to be done. This is what our other clients have said about the work that we do. This is where you're building trust. Now, the reason I have it from the form is because from the form, if somebody fills in a form and you're not able to call them, let's say they filled it out at 10 o'clock at night, obviously you're not going to call them at 10 o'clock at night, but you want to make sure there's automation that goes out. And so you're going to have email and SMS, this can work for both, that says like, hey, thanks for reaching out. If you're looking for XYZ, because we specialize in that, you are in the right place. And then you have some more follow-up that goes on until you can call them, which then leads me to this, which then you call them and you have that diagnostic call. Let's say they call at 1:30 in the afternoon and you happen to be sitting in your office at your desk and you can answer the phone, or you have a admin that can answer the phone during work hours or whatever it is, then that call can be done immediately. Hey, you filled out the form, they call. Hey, I saw that you filled out a form and you want to book a free estimate. How can I help? And then you go through the diagnostics. So this is going to be for ready later. Now, in relation to the ads ecosystem, people need to build trust with you. They need to have the time to realize that you are the best contractor. And that best contractor means that they will wait for however long they need to wait so they get you and not somebody else, and they will pay whatever you're going to charge because they want you and nobody else. And so the ads ecosystem works where you do a lot of retargeting, and this is what I teach in my marketing stuff, because when you have an audience, a pool of people who have reached out to you, who have called you, who have visited your website, who've interacted with your ads, and you have this pool of people, it's like stocking your pond with a ton of fish, and then you just say, hey, here's a post, here's what we did for this client, here's a video testimonial, here's a written testimonial, here's a Google review. And so they constantly just see your stuff, and that builds the trust. And so even if you can't call them or talk to them or schedule them immediately, at least you've got your nets capturing them and bringing them into your pond, so that way you can continue to stay in front of them and nurture them over time. Now let's jump over to the people who are ready now, because this is where the rubber meets the road. And this is honestly the key to turning your estimates into clients. Now, here I have that if you have somebody who's ready now, your next step is to book an estimate. Do not get off that phone until you have figured out when to do it. Hopefully you're using some type of scheduling app so it makes it really easy. Hopefully you are having those reminders go out so that way they never forget about your appointment, and you are building trust with expectations even through those appointments. So book the appointment, add the reminders, and don't forget to set those expectations on that call. You can also remind them of the expectations here. Now, if there's a lot of decision makers in the call and it's going to be a big project, you want to make sure that when you book that estimate, that all the people are there. So if the wife is taking control, the husband doesn't care what happens, and they don't really have a say in the matter because the wife's running the show, well, then only meet with the wife. But if you have figured out that the husband actually has an opinion based off your diagnostic call, then you want to make sure that both the husband and the wife are there together. Or if there is a family member, like a grandma or something like that, like you want to make sure that you're not going to waste your time on that estimate. So you book an estimate. Now you've got that appointment. So this is going to be the in-person appointment for the estimate. This is where you're going to take your measurements. You're going to figure out what's going on in their house. You're going to have your eyes on their project to make sure that you don't see anything weird that's going to add to the price, or you see stuff that's half done and you don't have to do it. I know many contractors that I work with, they end up going and estimating a job and it's been left by another contractor who did a half job and then never showed up again, and they're gone. They're MIA. And so you want to be able to look at that and see what's going on. So at the appointment, there's a couple of things. Obviously, this video is not about how to do an estimate. If you've gotten this far in business, you know how to do an estimate. You just need to turn more of those estimates into clients instead of having a stack of estimates on your desk, collecting dust that could be potential business, but never actually turn into business because it takes you forever to do it. This is going to be the shortcut, and this is going to help you get your business going and growing better and faster and plugging all the black holes. I personally, and this is what I teach my guys to do, and this is what they do, is they record the entire conversation with the homeowner or whoever's the decision maker using an app I like to use called Wave AI. It doesn't work quite as well on Android, but there's other options too. But on iPhones, if you record the entire conversation, and you can tell them like, hey, I don't want to miss any details, so I'm going to record our entire call to make sure that your vision is communicated to not only me, but also my whole team. I don't want to have to go play telephone, make sure that I'm taking notes and missing something that you're saying because I'm not fully present. So I'm going to use Wave AI to record our conversation so I can be fully present and make sure that I'm capturing your vision the best as I can. By telling them that, you're already setting yourself apart from all the other contractors, because they come in and go, okay, what do you want? Okay, I'll do this and I'll do this. Sounds good. And they walk out and you're like, did they get everything I wanted? And then that leaves doubt in the customer's mind on whether or not you're going to do the job that you say that you're going to do. So record it via Wave AI. You want to get their vision. You want to see what's important to them and what's not important to them, where they're going to spend the money and where they're going to pull back because of budget. This is going to help you figure out a couple of options to give them. You can give them here's everything that you wanted and your dreams and then some. And then you can be like, I know your budget's here, so here's a few things we can cut out that's really not going to be that important, or we can lower the quality on certain things, or pick a different type of tile, or whatever the case is. You can guide them in that direction, say, okay, well, instead of just doing the top of the line and luxury everything, we can kind of cherry pick what we're going to do super nice and what we're going to just do standard. And so that way we're going to lower your price a little bit. And then you can have like a basic price of just everything's basic, everything's standard, and you're just doing the job. And so you want to have those 3 different tiers, but you don't want to have the tier with the wrong vision in it. You want to make sure that you're actually capturing their vision when you have this conversation. Obviously, you're going to do all the measurements, and then this is the key. This is where the magic happens, is you're going to take a Loom video and you're going to record their entire project or their bathroom or their kitchen or their outdoors or whatever it is that you're doing, and you're going to record it using Loom. Now, Loom and Wave AI are very similar, but Loom is an actual video recording with a transcript. And so this is going to be super important because you can hold your phone up and you can point out, okay, so right here, about this far away, we're going to put this. And right here is where we're going to put this. And this is where we're going to put this. And this is how we're going to do this. That video is you regurgitating everything that they told you and making sure that you got all the details that they wanted. Now, this is going to be important because of 2 parts. 1, you're letting them know that you listened. Number 2, this video can be used for your team. So now your whole pre-construction talk with them is videoed already. And if you have a job that's 3 months down the line, you're like, wait, did we want the plug here? Did we want the plug there? Did we talk about this or did we not talk about this? You don't remember all of that, but having the video that you've walked through the entire project is important. And then number 3, because you've used Loom, because you've set them up, they're now ready to get the estimate with a Loom video, which is where you can get your estimates turned into more clients because video builds trust. And so when you have those videos involved, you can then build that trust and close those clients. So you capture everything, you get their vision, you take the measurements you need to take, and you're like, okay, it's going to take me 48 hours or whatever the timeline is that it takes you to get their estimate done. And I'm going to email you at this specific time on this specific day. Don't email them a day later. Don't email them 5 hours late. Email them when you say you're going to email them. Do not delay, because this is, again, a trust building brick to build that bridge over to them becoming a client. So then post appointment, you're going to send them the summary from your Wave AI. Again, your admin could do this. If you have a virtual assistant like most of my guys do, then they'd have their virtual assistant send it. It's like, hey, here's the summary of our entire thing. I'll send the estimate then, or at this point in time, and whatever that day is, or however long it takes you to do an estimate. And so when you're doing that, again, you're building a trust with them, saying you do what you say you're going to do, when you say you're going to do it, how you say you're going to do it, and they go, huh, this contractor actually follows through. This contractor is trusted, because you've shown that you're trusted, not just told them that you can be trusted. And then here is the final kicker, is you use Loom again, and you record your screen and go over the estimate. Now, again, you don't just go over the estimate and say, okay, I added all this and here's the cost. You go through the estimate and you say, okay, you wanted the bathroom. We're going to make sure that we do it this way. And you give them a little bit of your process, so that way they fully understand and fully trust that you are the contractor that's going to help them bring their dreams alive. And so when you send the estimate, then they will sign the contract. And that is the entire process, to take people who don't know who you are to booking a call and following through with them all the way to getting that contract signed and turning more estimates into contracts. If you have any questions, I'd love to chat, but again, grab the script and I'll see you in the next video.